Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
AVS Media Demo.
Hello, welcome everyone to our radio show today. This is where we encourage all of Texas to drop everything and
AVS
read.
Media
Today,
Demo.
I am excited to be interviewing Dan Kilday, the author of Molly Warner, School Reporter. Hello,
AVS
Dan. How are
Media
you today?
Demo.
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I am doing awesome. I'm excited to be talking to you today. I love
AVS
children's
Media
books and love
Demo.
to see how all that comes about in the minds of the writer. And so, tell us a little bit about yourself, especially about your days, your journalism days, and
AVS
your
Media Demo.
anchor days. Tell us about that.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I was a television sportscaster for a while, many moons ago.
AVS Media Demo.
A few different stations across the country, including right here in Texas. And, I left that about 10 years ago.
AVS Media Demo.
Stayed with me even after I left the profession. And quite frankly, I take a look at how journalism is
AVS Media Demo.
There's things I like about it. There's a lot of wonderful things going on with technology and advancements and how we get our information, but there's a lot of
AVS Media Demo.
So I was inspired to write a book about journalism, but I wanted it to be geared towards kids. And, I have kids of my own.
AVS Media Demo.
Something that they would read and enjoy and laugh at and learn from. And hopefully other children are doing the same as well with this book. But that's kind of
AVS Media Demo.
An old television guy, but really enjoy writing books as well.
Well, that is good. I mean, that's exciting because and
AVS Media Demo.
You implemented your past career and then made it into a children's book so you could introduce the children.
AVS Media
And
Demo.
you're right. There's so many good and bad things about it at this time, and so technology is just really wonderful, and you can kind of get anything from any place in the world.
AVS Media Demo.
You don't even have to leave your house. So it is awesome how that is all progressed. Yes, and the same thing with reading books. You can access
AVS Media
You
Demo.
might be in one country and some other people in another country can be able to read your awesome book. So tell us a little bit about Molly. And I know you
AVS Media Demo.
character from your journalism days, but kind of tell us a little bit about her.
Molly is a gossip. I don't know if you know anything about
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah.
Okay. So she likes to share information with other students in her middle
AVS
school,
Media
and
Demo.
She gets in trouble for that quite a bit because she's, not really supposed to gossip in the halls, but she doesn't really see it as a bad thing. She sees it as
AVS Media Demo.
She's trying to share the good word to everybody that will listen. And she gets into trouble for that, but instead of punishing her,
AVS Media Demo.
recognizes what she's doing and what she's really trying to do, and decides that, instead of punishing her, I'm going to put her on the school newspaper staff.
AVS Media Demo.
And
Yes.
share information in a way that's positive and is helpful to everybody.
AVS Media Demo.
The bull by the horns and joins the school newspaper staff and breaks a really big story with her school. And there's a big, scandal.
AVS Media Demo.
That sort of witnessed it all happen, so she gets to write about it. And, it's one of those books where there's a lot of
AVS Media Demo.
but there's also a lot of really serious elements about journalism and freedom of the press and things like that mixed in that I think are important.
AVS Media Demo.
It's a silly kids book on its surface. There's a lot of funny jokes that happen along the way as well. So hopefully children are entertained by this.
AVS Media Demo.
Oh, yeah, especially from Howard Middle School. I got tickled because I taught middle school last year, and I got an opportunity
AVS
to
Media Demo.
even over the summer. I did a summer youth program with Envision Explore, and it was with the middle kids, and so that's an interesting group all by themselves.
AVS Media
that
Demo.
age where they're still, they're coming from, especially sixth graders, coming out of that elementary mentality and going over it and trying
AVS
to
Media
move over
Demo.
into the middle school, headed toward high school, that kind of thing. So I can imagine Molly at her age group and having all of these
AVS
things to say
Media
and just being
Demo.
observant about everything. So that's kind of how that group is, that age
Well,
group.
and I have a now 7th grader, and she was
AVS Media
last
Demo.
year, so she was experiencing a lot of these things that every 6th grader experiences. You're right; it is a very scary time. You're comfortable.
AVS Media
You
Demo.
got the hang of that, and now you have to go into this other big school where I have to go to different classrooms, and I have a locker, and I have to.
AVS Media
kids are
Demo.
walking around, running into me. What's going on? It's kind of a scary time in a kid's life, and it's been a little while since I've been on.
AVS Media Demo.
See through her eyes how a 6th grader would be treated these days, and I would go to her.
AVS Media Demo.
Things just to make sure, is this still a thing? Is this something that 6th graders still do? And she was able to kind of help me a little bit with some of the storylines.
AVS Media Demo.
And I've had a blast doing it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, because that like I said, that's like you saying too. It's really a difficult. It's a difficult
AVS
age
Media
because,
Demo.
everything's changing for them. Not only are they going into a group where they're no longer the lead. They're
AVS
they're
Media
the
Demo.
again, and then they have all these big kids over them. But then even their physical is changing. Their physical bodies are beginning to change and do things, and so they have
AVS
a lot going
Media
on. There's a lot
Demo.
going on in their mind. So it's so much fun to see all of that.
That's very true, and Molly experiences that in the book as well with
AVS Media Demo.
staff members not really appreciating the fact that this little 6th grader is getting such a big story, and so there's an element
AVS Media Demo.
well, which is a very real part,
Wow.
not only in journalism, not only in school, but just in life in general. Of everybody's kind of competing for certain things.
AVS Media
Certainly
Demo.
on Molly's newspaper staff, they're competing for stories. So some of the older kids don't necessarily appreciate that she's getting the big story that
AVS Media Demo.
book. So there's an element of that in there as well.
And then it talks about homecoming and how she really doesn't feel like homecoming is that big of a deal.
AVS
but everybody
Media
else is so
Demo.
serious about it with building the floats and all those types of things. And so that's interesting to see how that develops for her as well.
She kind of thinks
AVS Media Demo.
middle school to have a homecoming, and but I remember I was in middle school. We had homecoming, and we didn't even have a football team. We had a
AVS Media
I
Demo.
always thought it was kind of strange that we had a homecoming for middle school, but that's one part of the story as well. Is the homecoming float kind of gets ruined.
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah. And then she said, and the team doesn't even win. That's so funny because that's kind of how it is.
AVS Media Demo.
Their team is lousy, but they take it really seriously anyway.
And so how was in your writing?
AVS Media Demo.
In your writing, what made you choose a children's book versus writing about journalism on a
AVS
more of an adult
Media
level?
Demo.
What was your deciding factor about that?
Well, I think it's my maturity level is more in tune with children. No, I just
AVS Media Demo.
I can write in a way that maybe children relate to a little better than adults.
AVS Media
I've
Demo.
tried writing adult fiction in the past, and to me, it just didn't really seem very realistic. Like some of the
AVS Media
the
Demo.
characters make were not real decisions that a real person would make, and but when I turned
AVS Media Demo.
to a younger person, a middle school kid, those decisions actually did make sense. These are decisions that a kid would maybe make.
AVS Media Demo.
Experience as an adult, and some of the mistakes that they're making are mistakes that kids would make, and it just worked better as a children's book.
AVS Media
And
Demo.
it also allows me now to go to schools and to do school visits because I have this children's book that I wrote that relates well to
AVS Media Demo.
6th, 7th graders, and I'm able to go in and talk to these kids about important things like freedom of the press and just writing and reading. And
AVS Media Demo.
in your development. So I'm really blessed that I was able to to write this book and put it out there, and certainly
AVS Media Demo.
Go along.
And that's awesome, because that did open up those doors for you, and that's really good, because they need that. They really need that
AVS
type of,
Media Demo.
those types of lessons and those types of influence and experience at that age, because it really helps them kind of develop and kind of begin to think in their own
AVS
minds
Media
of,
Demo.
do I want to be a journalist, or things like that. So it opens up them to because they see all this stuff on TV. But yet,
AVS Media Demo.
Grasp hold of what that really is, and do they want to be a part of that particular, part of life? Do they want to go into that? So that's really good that you
AVS Media Demo.
And to speak to them on that level about reading and writing, and really to influence them in the purpose that they really need that part.
AVS Media Demo.
Area as well, because sometimes I know when I was in school I was a math person, so I didn't really push myself in those other areas. But later on in life, you really, really need it.
AVS Media Demo.
As you well know, journalism itself is a story these days, and the way that we consume news is
AVS Media Demo.
Of our culture, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier, technology has kind of changed everything. We now have
AVS Media Demo.
We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have. Facebook was just kind of starting to be a thing when I left journalism. If that tells you how long ago it was.
AVS Media Demo.
It's a part of our culture, and it's a part of everyday life, and it's a part of journalism. If you are a reporter and you're out on a, you're out.
AVS Media Demo.
Required to tweet about it and drop little tidbits about things that are happening. That's a really good way to get information, because
AVS Media Demo.
But it's also a negative side. There's a negative side to that, because maybe this information hasn't been confirmed yet. Maybe the information
AVS Media Demo.
Really what's happening. And
exactly.
That's kind of giving journalism a black eye. So there's certain elements about
AVS Media Demo,
and I don't like in 2018, and that's sort of why I was inspired to write this book.
To write this. Okay, well, let us get
AVS Media Demo.
Right now, we're going to take a break, and we're going to hear from our wonderful sponsors, and we will be right back. This is Dear Texas Radio.
Do you love to read great new ebooks? Visit ebg247.com. Be the first to discover the next bestseller. At ebg247, we have the web's largest selection of great new book reads, from that amazing new fiction or nonfiction to horror, romance, and fantasy. We even have today's best children's books. That's ebg247.com. New books arrive daily, and all ebooks start at just 99 cents. If you love to read, then you'll love ebg247.com. Low prices, large selection, and an easy-to-use website. It's all only at ebg247.com.
Howdy, I'm John Cruder, the Midnight Marauder. I guess you might say that I'm a vigilante who rights the wrongs I see along my many travels to balance the scales of justice, especially those of the corrupt and murderous members of the Town Council of Bandera, Texas. You can follow my many adventures in a series of Midnight Marauder books written by Roy Clinton on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com. Or, if you prefer, listen to my adventures in audiobook form by downloading them from Audible.com or iTunes. This is R. William James, the voice of the Midnight Marauder.
A new online bookstore, IndieLector.store, is unlike any other. IndieLector.store offers great prices from top indie authors and supports authors at the same time by paying them more for their books. IndieLector.store has a readers club that gives you free books and special deals. Watch the IndieLector.store continue to grow before it opens in the fall of 2019 at IndieLector.store. Headlines. Cryptocurrency vultures are circling around failing governments. Darknet predators are rushing to market with their newest digital product. They promise economic salvation, even as they coupon clips straight from your digital wallet. The newest techno-thriller installment from Brakefield and Berkey, The Enigma Source. Book 10 of the Enigma series continues the combat of cyber good guys versus cyber thugs set in today's digital landscape. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
AVS Media Demo.
Hello, welcome back to our radio show, where we have been interviewing Dan Kilday, the author of Molly Warner School Report.
AVS Media
back,
Demo.
Dan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Now, during the break, right before the break, you were talking about journalism.
AVS Media
how
Demo.
Things have progressed, and some ways they've kind of digressed as far as what's being reported and all the drama that goes along
AVS
with it.
Media
But
Demo.
just all of the new facets that we can use to funnel news through anymore, like you said, with Twitter, Facebook.
AVS
Instagram,
Media
all those
Demo.
different things, the social media networks that are being used to funnel news, and we can get news from around the world now, where we used to could just only get
AVS Media Demo.
But now we can get news from around the world. And so one of your inspirations for writing this book was to introduce the world of journalism
AVS Media Demo.
to young people. So can we go back to talking about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things where technology is this wonderful
AVS
thing,
Media
and it allows
Demo.
us to have all these different ways of absorbing media, but it creates a lot of chaos and confusion at the same time, because you're not
AVS Media Demo.
providing the most accurate information, and sometimes when we're getting information as it happens, it's not necessarily 100% true.
AVS Media Demo.
A black eye, in my opinion.
Yes, I think it has too, because sometimes I even myself, sometimes you're like, I don't even want to hear it. That's what I be thinking.
AVS Media Demo.
Know the truth or who's not. So let me ask this question.
Just wait until later, and then once they figure everything out, you can find out what's really happening.
AVS Media Demo.
Exactly. That's how it is. But let me ask you this question. So what message do you hope that this story will bring
AVS
to your
Media
readers?
Demo.
What is the underlying message that you hope that it will bring to your readers?
The First Amendment is a very, very wonderful thing.
AVS Media
us
Demo.
to be able to have this conversation. The two of us are able to share our opinions and talk about things and discuss things. And
AVS Media Demo.
Because of the First Amendment. Other countries, other people in other countries would not be able to have the conversation that you and I are having.
AVS Media Demo.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that really separates us from everyone else in the world. And, freedom of the press is a very, very important
AVS Media Demo.
We have the ability, journalists who can go ask our leaders and our, the people that are
AVS Media
from
Demo.
our state to our city to our country to our football teams. They can go and talk to these people and hold them accountable.
AVS Media Demo.
And they're able to ask them questions to make sure that what they're telling us that they're doing is really what they're doing. That's a very important thing. And there's
AVS Media Demo.
people. And so the point of this book is to show how important that is and why that's so important.
Yeah.
AVS Media Demo.
So with that being said, too, even if an adult is reading it or reading it to their children or something like that,
AVS Media
or
Demo.
teachers using it for story time or something like that, that they're also gaining from it as well as the listeners in the age
AVS Media Demo.
So I think it conveys a message to all people, not just even to children, but they can learn something from adults, can learn something from it too. With that being
AVS Media Demo.
And I think that's really awesome. What and in this story, I want to go back to the story for a minute. Who is the antagonist in the story? Who is the one that's really
AVS Media Demo?
Does she have another culprit that's kind of funneling some things along with her?
Well, I kind of touched on this a little while ago, but
AVS Media Demo.
Reporter in particular on the newspaper staff who's a little older than Molly and was, before she got there, sort of the lead reporter.
AVS Media Demo.
And at first, they do not get along at all. And the girl's name is Zakania, and she is the lead reporter, and she's very jealous.
AVS Media Demo.
Getting this big story, and they sort of butt heads throughout the story, and they're working on different things. but they later realized that
AVS Media
that
Demo.
they have are actually, they should be working together. And if they work together as a team, they could maybe figure out what's going on. And so
AVS Media Demo.
She becomes less of an antagonist and more of a friend, and they become sort of a duo, and they break this big story together at the end.
AVS Media Demo.
You know, get their names in the newspaper together because they were able to do this together. So, a story about rivals, but it's also a story about how working together is always
AVS Media Demo.
apart.
Yeah, and so that's really good, and that was one of the things I kind of read, and I wanted to bring that out.
AVS Media
Demo.
Demo.
It's more than just the journalism piece to it, but all the other facets that are going along with the book, as far as in which is so neat.
AVS
for
Media
children
Demo.
today, about being able to work together, being team players, and being able, even though you might have differences,
AVS Media
how you can work
Demo.
through those differences and still work together. So that's really a great storyline.
Well, and,
AVS Media
a lot of things
Demo.
going on that middle school kids can relate to, and that's certainly one of them. But there's hallway bullying, and there's
AVS Media Demo.
that they don't necessarily like taking, but they kind of have to. And there's teachers that are boring, and there's teachers that are mean, and there's
AVS Media Demo.
And that's kind of what going to school is about. I think that any kid that is going to school now, and any adult who has ever been in that
AVS Media
in their
Demo.
life, will relate very, very well to some of these stories in this book.
Yes, and that's so true, because I remember last
AVS Media
semester when I was
Demo.
teaching middle school, and the kids would get put out of another class. They say, well, she's mean, Miss Bryson, and can I come in your class? And I'm thinking
AVS Media Demo.
all of those types of things is so classic for middle school kids, and I think it's just they're a special group all by themselves, and you really have to love that
AVS
age
Media
group to
Demo.
really be able to identify with them and be able to teach them and help them through the difficult times, because they're going through difficult times, like you said, with the bullies and all those types of things.
AVS Media Demo.
It can be used in so many ways to help middle school children or children in general to overcome various situations.
AVS Media Demo.
It's an awesome book, and I hope that many people will buy it for their children to read, and even in the classrooms, like you said, be able to use it.
AVS Media Demo.
Requires reading, so that's what I would hope that would come out of it, and then who knows, anything could come forward out of it.
AVS Media Demo.
There's a lot of important lessons in it, but there's also a lot of potty humor in it as well. I don't want to make it seem like it's this big serious,
AVS Media Demo.
and about all these serious things that happen. There's a lot of funny things that happen in the book, and I would even, say, I would say it would be categorized as a
AVS
comedy,
Media Demo.
but there are a lot of, important things sort of sprinkled in as well, so you're kind of getting both.
We're getting both, exactly. Now, is there
AVS Media Demo.
Or what's your next project?
I'm working on a sequel to Molly. Writing a sequel is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
AVS Media
I
Demo.
beginning, a middle, and an end, and now I'm sort of continuing a story that had an ending. So it was a little harder than I was expecting.
AVS Media Demo.
And I'm working through it. But yeah, I'm working on a sequel, and there's going to be more of a TV element with this one.
AVS Media Demo.
Kind of a focused on newspaper. The second one is going to be focused more on television, and that's really my wheelhouse. That's where I can
AVS Media Demo.
So I'm excited to sort of share some of the funny things that can happen on a television studio.
Wow, okay, that is good.
AVS
I'm
Media
looking
Demo.
forward to the next book as well. And so, with that being said, because I know we're getting close to time, where can we find your book? I know we can get it on
AVS Media Demo.
and so that's one place that it can be found. But where are some of the other social? Where can we find the book? And then where are some of the other places that we can find you?
AVS Media
and
Demo.
things like that.
The easiest thing for me to tell you to do is to go to mollywarnerbook.com. That's kind of a one-stop shop for all.
AVS Media Demo.
It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. You can actually even order a signed copy from a local bookstore in Austin called Book People.
AVS Media Demo.
But you can go to that website, and it'll give you all the details of how to find ways to buy the book. But you can find me on Twitter. It's at
AVS Media Demo.
I'm on Facebook. You can find me out there. I'm out there. You just have to look for me.
Thank you so much, Dan.
AVS Media Demo.
Talking to you about Molly Warner, and just looking forward to the next part, the sequel to this particular book, and just talking about
AVS Media Demo.
Journalism and how this is, and there's some funny parts in here too, as well as I was looking just to read. It's a fun
AVS
book to read,
Media Demo.
Good lessons out of it, but it's a very fun book to read. So I'm encouraging everyone that has children, especially in the middle school, to go out and buy the book.
AVS Media Demo.
Read it to your children and read it with them, because there's some good things in it. We're so thankful for you to be on our show today. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
AVS Media Demo.
And just talking about your written masterpiece. And so thank you so much for that, and thank you for your time.
Thanks.
AVS Media Demo.
You're welcome. And so thank you for your time and for being on the show. And we're so glad we got to talk about Molly Warner, the school reporter.
AVS Media Demo.
Hello, Texas authors. My name is Randy James, coming to you from my Carrollton recording studio, where I spend time writing and producing commercials for my radio endorsement clients, as well as my private freelance clients. I'd like the opportunity to help you sell more books with a commercial like this and get listeners of Dear Texas Radio excited about your title, all at a special introductory price, available to members of the Texas Association of Authors. Call or text 214-762-1942. That's 214-762-1942.
Have you ever thought what you would do if you had to put your life on hold to parent your parents? Charlotte Cannon has lived the journey caring for 3 parents with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. Her book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, How to Parent Your Parents, is a survival guide for adult children caring for aging seniors. Her book is available at books.txauthors.com, Amazon, or your favorite bookstore.
Texas Authors is proud to be a supporter of IndieBeacon.com, a website that supports indie authors from around the world. If you are looking for help with marketing or getting published, IndieBeacon.com can assist you. Years of experience by the founder is available to any indie author looking for help. IndieBeacon.com, a place for creative souls to find help in marketing their creations. Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.